Hello everybody, this is my 30-second review of films to come out in 2025. Obviously it's been a while since my last review. People were like, are you still doing this? Where's the Sinners review? Where's the Thunderbolts review? They'll come out pretty soon. I'm just taking a little break to work on a much bigger project. But today I'm taking a little break from my little break to talk about the new Wes Anderson movie, The Phoenician Scheme. I just felt like I had to talk about this one as quickly as possible. First though, I think I need to talk about my feelings about Wes Anderson in general because there's a lot of different types of Wes Anderson fans. A lot of different people are looking for a lot of different things when going to see a Wes Anderson movie. So I'll say right off the bat, I think he's one of the best directors working today. I always look forward to when he has a new movie out and I always want to see it as quickly as possible. And I think the fact that people have different styles that they like the most and different films that are their favorites is a sign of a really good director. To me, you can divvy up his career into 3 stages or periods or eras, whatever you want to call it. So there's Stage 1, early Wes Anderson, which is like Bottle Rocket, Rushmore, and Royal Tenenbaums. Then there's Stage 3, which is this, French Dispatch, and Asteroid City. And then there's Stage 2, which is just everything else. Also, I know about all his short films, I'm just talking about features here. During Stage 1, I would say his style is really toned down. It's still definitely there, but less so compared to his later films. And wherever it exists, it feels very purposeful and substantive. There's a clear reason for the emotionless and monotone way the adults speak in Rushmore.
She's sweet, but she's fucked up.
There's a reason the production design in the Royal Tenenbaums feels reminiscent of a dollhouse. I would say there's kind of a sappiness or cheesiness to these movies that's fitting and works well to bring out the emotions in the audience, more so than a lot of his other films.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've had a rough year, Dad.
I know you have, Chazzy.
I know these are some people's favorites, especially Rushmore and Royal Tenenbaums. That's not really the case for me, but I still think they're pretty great. During Stage 2, I feel like his style is heightened more and pretty much working at full force. Both with the visual symmetry stuff and the color palette, but also with the monotone dialogue. His style has become exaggerated and more present, and I feel like there's a lot of growth during this period of his career. I feel like he evolved his style, figured out new ways to shoot things and make them staples of his style. And I really like all of this. This period contains a lot of my favorites of his. I feel like when his style is heightened and when it's fitting, it works really well. Like the sort of kid's book look of Grand Budapest Hotel, I feel like really fits the storytelling where the events of the movie are being retold over the course of decades. And I think the monotone quick talking of Ralph Fiennes does really fit his character in the movie.
Run to the Cathedral of Santa Maria in Brucknerplatz, buy one of the plain half-length candles and take back 4 klubecks in change. Light it in the sacristy, say a brief rosary, then go to Mendel's and get me a courtesan au chocolat. If there's any money left, give it to the crippled shoeshine boy.
In Isle of Dogs, well, I like the contrast between the hive mind way the dogs talk versus Chief, who speaks in a different way.
Remember, I don't even believe in masters.
You're the best in a scrap. We all know that. You like to fight.
Well, let's take a vote.
All in favor of Chief fighting the robot dog. Say aye.
Hey!
I really don't understand why Greta Gerwig's character has to speak in the same way.
You all know me. I speak my mind, and sometimes that ruffles some feathers. Please forgive my bluntness. Mayor Kobayashi is a crook, and I hate him.
And while I do feel like him pushing his style further does make his films stand out from the crowd a lot more, I do think there's a human quality that's just a little lost at this point. That sappiness or cheesiness is toned down or more limited. It's still definitely there in some cases, and may actually work better because they're more precise in contrast to the tone. Like in Fantastic Mr. Fox, it's mostly a pretty funny movie and the characters are pretty cartoony, but then you have moments like this.
Why? Why did you lie to me?
Because I'm a wild animal.
So while the dramatic, more human elements of his films are more limited at this point of his career, that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. So just like Stage 1, I think all of these features are pretty great, even if there's some I love a lot more than others. Now we get to Stage 3, where I feel like the Wes Anderson style is put on steroids. It's the way I've heard all 3 of these features described by critics at their release. The visual aspects are heightened even further, the way every character speaks in a quick monotone way is pushed way further, where basically every character speaks in that way. His style is now all-encompassing. Not a single character speaks in a normal way, the sets all look stage-like, and I feel like that sappy quality is completely gone at this point. The characters in these movies act in a way that's kind of inhuman to me, like weird imitations of human beings.
If it's any good, I guess I'll try to sell it to a magazine, now that you mention it. Midge Campbell, eating a waffle.
There's just less of an emotional core to these movies. A lot of this probably sounds very negative, but I'll say right off the bat that I don't actually dislike any of these films. I actually think The French Dispatch is great. I feel like the film lacking that sappy quality and emotional core is kind of fine. It's an anthology film, so I don't feel like you need to be super invested in these characters emotionally. The sets and production design is amazing, and I think the stories are fun, and the humor works really well. The first third is definitely my favorite. I actually think it's one of the best things he's ever made. I feel like the other two are a little less memorable for me. I just connect with the stories less. But they work in an anthology. If they were features, even if the first one is a feature, I don't think it would really work. But as it is, I think it does really work. Asteroid City, I did not feel the same way about. In fact, after watching, I thought it was easily his worst feature. The film's lack of an emotional core is definitely the biggest problem for me. I feel like I can barely even remember a single character from the movie, and I saw it pretty recently. I just didn't care about them. I feel like some aspects of the story were explained in a super overly confusing way. I feel like the pacing is really bad. The first half especially has no hook, and there are scenes that just drag on for me. Kids acting like adults is a trope in pretty much all of his movies, but I feel like at this point it was really unfunny and annoying for me. I don't know why. I felt like a lot of Wes Anderson isms were getting really old for me at this point. I thought it had his most repetitive and annoying score. I still love the look of the film and the use of effects and color palette and everything about the direction. There are some genuinely great moments that stand out in his catalog. There's some great music. The meta aspect was interesting, but it's still my least favorite by him. Perhaps one day I'll rewatch it and feel completely differently, but I'm just not interested in doing that anytime soon. So with all of that said, let's finally talk about the Phoenician Scheme. Would I recommend this movie? I can't say that I really do. I'll talk about everything I liked first, but yeah, this was not a winner for me. In fact, I like this less than Asteroid City, so as of now, this is my least favorite Wes Anderson movie. So what did I like? Obviously the visuals, always great. In general, he's an amazing director, and my problems pretty much just fall on the writing. The color palette is darker, but still pretty. The sets and props and everything involving effects and production design was great. My favorite aspect of the movie, without a doubt. There's some visual effects involving gore that I found very funny. There's a lot of great actors here who have very fun roles. I mean, he just seems to get a million A-list actors to be in his movies somehow, and yeah, they're always fun, even if they're just in there for a tiny bit. And even though I'm going to criticize things about the performances later in this video, I have no issues with any of these actors. I think they're all great. It's completely the way they're directed. But for one more good thing about this movie, I mean, it's just unique. He's a very unique filmmaker. There are a few people who are intentional with every detail like him. Barely any directors out there right now. I mean, so many movies I've seen of 2025 so far all kind of look and sound the same and have so little intentionality with that stuff. So it's just really refreshing to see something like this where there is so much thought put in those elements. Wes Anderson is just so specific with that stuff, and the movie looks and sounds great as a result. So to start off with critiques, I have one big one that a lot of people have been levying at Wes Anderson for years now, which is that I'm just starting to get a little tired of his style. There are elements I still love about it, like set design, color palette, visual effects, but I mean, there are camera moves that he does in all of his movies that are not impressive to me anymore because I'm just expecting it. Part of me is torn because I want to be fair. I want to give credit to all the hard work and effort that's put into making his movies look this way, but it's just becoming harder to appreciate it and much harder to actually enjoy it as something new because it's just not refreshing anymore. He's still doing the group of kids that act overly mature, and it's just such an eye roll for me at this point. I just really am starting to wish that he would change it up a little bit, and that monotone, fast talking is just starting to feel too exaggerated and annoying to me. It sort of fits the characters in the movie, and I'll talk more about that later, but I don't know, it just made the plot more confusing to me because characters are spewing so much dialogue so quickly that it sometimes was hard to follow. That stilted, unnatural dialogue is just pushed way further in this movie than any other Wes Anderson movie probably. Maybe Asteroid City is on par. But it's getting to a point where I honestly think it's comparable to like a Yorgos Lanthimos movie. But in those movies, I just feel like he makes it work for the stories and tone, and there's so much more of a reason for it. Like, all of Yorgos Lanthimos' movies are kind of making fun of human behavior in a comedy of manners sort of way. Like, The Lobster is all about the societal standards and pressure around love and dating, and so the awkward way everybody acts is really appropriate.
I'm very happy.
Me too.
There's just a lot of social commentary in his films that make that weird dialogue feel very poignant and funny to me. It's as if everybody in his movies are putting on an appearance, but deep down they're secretly very unhappy and having some sort of crisis. But in the Phoenician Scheme, I just really do not see the point of this weird, emotionlessly performed dialogue. While there is some social commentary going on with the story, this is much more of a comedy, and I just didn't find that aspect very funny. In general, while it's funny sometimes, most of the comedy really did not work for me. It was really rare that anybody laughed at my theater, and it just made the entire experience feel so sterile and lifeless. The fast, monotone dialogue feels more fitting for the characters when they're doing, like, business and agreeing to giving the main character money. Maybe it's kind of fitting for Michael Cera's character because he's supposed to be like a nerdy professor in the movie. And for Mia Therpelton's character, it kind of makes sense because she's a nun, so she's supposed to be stoic and sort of emotionally withdrawn. There's sort of a fierce and intense way that she interacts with Benicio del Toro's character for most of the movie, but still very emotionally controlled. And yet somehow I still feel like her character was the worst offender of this for me. To explain this, I think I need to quickly go over the plot. I won't spoil too much. The movie is basically about a character played by Benicio del Toro, who's like this extremely rich and chaotic protagonist. He's constantly getting assassinating and having these like visions of the afterlife. And he's trying to get this project funded. He makes Mia Therpelton's character the heir of his estate, and she's more of this altruistic, level-headed person who's kind of like connected to spirituality, being like a nun. So she's the character that's trying to help him redeem himself, and she goes along with his journey to try to get this project funded in order to do that. So now to get back to what I was saying, I just feel like her character should function as a sort of stand-in for the audience. I mean, she's the selfless one whose goals align with the audience. She's the most normal one. The main character, Benicio del Toro, is constantly seeing the afterlife and is kind of crazy. She's the most normal character, and yet it's really difficult for me to connect with her in any way because she shows no emotion. Her behavior is so stilted, her dialogue is so monotone and emotionless, like every other character in this movie. It's just totally pushed to 11 here. No one really contrasts from one another in that way, like what was so effective in those early Wes Anderson movies like Rushmore or Royal Tenenbaums. It is a major problem for me in this movie. I need someone to connect with. I need to connect with her emotionally in some way, but she just acts like a robot. She's so inhuman in this role. All I was just like really hoping for was that by the end of this movie, there would be one moment where the characters act more human and show emotion and have like a heart-to-heart. I am missing that sappy stuff from his early movies so much at this point. Wes Anderson was so great at pulling that stuff off, and considering this is a plot where a father and daughter reconnect for the first time in years, and she starts off not liking him, but he kind of changes, she tries to help redeem him, their relationship builds, we need at least one scene where the audience feels something. We need to feel that relationship's growth. We need to have one scene where the movie gives you an emotional response, and yet there's nothing. I felt nothing for these characters. With Bill Murray in Rushmore and Gene Hackman in The Royal Tenenbaums, Wes Anderson really helped them revitalize their careers by letting them play a character that shows off their personality, but also does something different with them. Compared to his older roles, Bill Murray is less sarcastic and outwardly funny. The funny more comes from situational comedy in Rushmore. He's like this depressed, withdrawn character. Gene Hackman is way more silly and playful in Royal Tenenbaums, but he's still able to show off his personality as an actor that we all know. Same with Bill Murray. And both of these characters have dynamics in their films that are totally different from anything we've seen from the actors before. I wanted this kind of thing for Benicio del Toro in this movie. I feel like this is a perfect role for him at this stage of his career. This slimy, super affluent guy, but also has kind of a heart. That thief with a heart of gold kind of trope. Benicio del Toro is great at playing those characters, but I just really do not feel like he's given any freedom to show off his personality as an actor here. And so, in a weird way, I feel like his character could have been played by almost anyone, which is such a shame. Michael Cera's character felt kind of pointless to me. Some of the funniest moments in the movie involve him, and I think he's probably the best performance. I mean, his performance was definitely the most unique. But I don't know, I just really didn't feel anything for his character. I also just find Michael Cera distracting. In every movie he's appeared in recently, I just feel like it comes off as if he's like a Michael Cera cameo. It's like the director is like, hey, it's Michael Cera, you know him, he's funny, right? And in this movie, he is actually very funny. It's just that, like, it comes off so much like, you know Michael Cera. I don't know, he's just always distracting for me. Even if he's like near the top of the cast list, it always just feels like a cameo. In comparison to Asteroid City, I didn't find this movie to be as irritating as that movie occasionally is. The pacing is way better, the sets are more varied, but there's a lot I thought was way worse. The original score is somehow more repetitive than that movie and has way less character. Even if there's amazing sets in the Phoenician Scheme, the overall like setting just did not really read to me. I don't know how, but I find this movie even less memorable than Asteroid City, and it gave me even less of an emotional response, which is wild. Again, unsurprisingly, I think Phoenician Scheme is the worst Wes Anderson movie. The positives I mentioned earlier do contribute a lot more to my experience than it probably comes off in this video. I really don't hate this movie. I'm not mad, just disappointed. And more than any other Wes Anderson movie, I'm just completely uninterested in rewatching this one. I'm gonna give this 2.5 stars out of 5. It's really meh. In the description, I will put a link to my Letterboxd list ranking all of the movies I've seen of 2025. Here is the ranking so far, and there is the Phoenician Scheme, there is everything else. There should also be a link to the YouTube playlist of all of my 2025 film reviews. You can also find that on my channel page and right here on the left side of your screen. Thank you for watching. Comments and likes are very much appreciated. They help boost me in the algorithm. That's all I have to say. See ya!